Hi, I'm Tam McManus and welcome to the Footballers Football Show here on PLZ today. With me in the show is Scott Allan, Ryan McGowan and a special guest, John Rankin. We're just wondering, Ranks, have we all played against each other or played in the same team? Have you played in the same team?
We've played in the same team. Me and Ranks.
Have we played in the same team?
Me and Ranks played in the same team.
Me and you played at United, get relegated.
Yeah, good days. I wonder why.
Where did you two play together?
United.
So you did, that's right.
So for both Dundee clubs.
Me too.
So Dundee United, talk us through a wee bit about the car skill. I know you used to had a couple of stories earlier on. Who was the driver?
I was the driver. Scotty hadn't qualified to drive, so it was myself, Barry Douglas, Johnny Russell, Scotty, and then we would pick Sevi up and away. So Sevi was lad, but Sevi couldn't drive because he'd obviously broke his leg, so he was coming to the end of his career. So I had to pick Scotty up in the morning, but Scotty makes his debut at this time, so obviously United offered him a new contract. Scotty didn't want to sign it. Back and forth.
That's not true. Not exactly true. I did want to sign it, I just hadn't signed it yet.
So he hadn't signed it, so Scotty wasn't allowed to travel home. So we had to take him, pick him up in the morning, drop him off round the corner, let him walk into the training ground his cell as if he wasn't with us, and then pick him back up at the end of the day. But he was part of the car school. It was quite lively, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good car school, obviously.
Who was the manager then, Peter Houston?
Peter Houston, yeah. So as Ranks obviously touched on there, by that point I hadn't signed the contract that was offered to me.
Why was that?
At the time?
Did you not see a long-term future there? Or?
No, I had. Dundee United at that point was all I ever knew. I was just happy to be in the first team, but as you said,
was it not the right contract for you? Or
money.
I just think at that time you're swayed by agents and all that type of thing, so you're just saying hold off just now. But the aim was always to sign again. But it was actually quite quick in terms of I hadn't signed it within a week, and then the pressure was kind of coming from the club, and obviously as Ranks touches on, they said that I was allowed to travel with any of the first team boys, but I couldn't drive, so it was either get out a mile down the road or get the megabus again. So they would sneak me in.
Scotty wasn't shy. Scotty was one of the kids that went to the first team, and the life and soul of the dressing room, very confident about his ability, arrogant on the pitch, which you would like, but could back it up. So you made your debut at Hearts, and he kind of kicked on for that, but he had that bit where he had that belief in himself that he wanted to go and play in England, and he was quite vocal about the fact that he wanted to go and play in England. So that was probably part of the reason why you never signed a contract as well.
Yeah, I think by the time you hear obviously other teams are coming in, you then think, I'm going to have a go at this. And at that point, to be fair, when I did then go to West Brom, within 6 weeks I was then playing in the English Championship up until the end of that season. So I did genuinely believe in my own ability and then go and kick on at that point. But the debut one was funny because I wasn't meant to be starting that day. Something happened with Danny Swanson. I'll never forget Ranks just tell me the whole way to Tynecastle that you're shitting yourself. That was basically what he was saying to me the whole way there.
That's the best one.
But he was saying it, I think, to make me not think that, because he probably knew what my personality was like. So I'm like, I'm not shitting myself, do you know what I mean? And obviously made my debut, and it was, I think we drew the game, to be honest, but I'd played well individually.
How did you, like older boys, handle that situation? You know, seeing like a young boy come through and then get chucked into the media sort of things. Were you protected?
You got slaughtered, didn't you, at the time? I remember you getting slaughtered by Dundee United supporters for not signing the deal. Thought you were greedy and stuff. I remember reading stuff like that.
No, he was fine. Like, see, obviously because we travelled with me, I had a soft spot for him, and I don't mean I was an experienced one, because I think I was only 27, 28 at that point. But you kind of, at that age, you know, it's like you're kind of running the dressing room because you've got a lot of younger ones, and like as I said, with Johnny Russell, Stuart Armstrong, Gary Mackay, Stephen, all them were part of that squad. So he was even younger than them, but he'd obviously just made his debut. So you're realising that one, he's got ability, two, he's got a good attitude, and three, he's going to make progress. So you're kind of trying to guide him where he is. So on the way to the Tynecastle that day, Swanee was supposed to start, got to the hotel. Swanee had a health issue that he couldn't start that day. So with then Scotty was going to come into the team. So he shifted a couple of things, and Scotty came into the middle of the pitch. I think it was beside myself and Sevi that day. And you're just kind of going, we need to look after him. So on the way to the game, I'm kind of trying to keep his feet in the ground, because I knew what he was like, and it's like, you're going to be shocking, you're going to have a nightmare, you're going to be poor. But he's biting back at me, like having a nibble. And then I knew as soon as we went on the pitch, I was like, he's going to, just as he's ready to take centre, because he was taking centre, Dave was like, you're having a shocker. But then he's passed the ball and then he kind of grew into it, so you knew. But obviously the way with him not taking part or being tried to put away for training or no signing the contract, then you're kind of saying, listen, he actually makes us better when he's playing.
Yeah.
So you're kind of trying to have an influence that way, and then just telling him to keep his head. And to be fair, he dealt with it well. I think he did a really good game at Tannadice. If I remember right, he hits the bar. I can't remember who it was. St Mirren. Hit the bar in the game, and you're going.
No, that was Hibs. That was Hibs after all just before I left, because at the time the whole stadium was kind of. Yeah, to be fair, because I remember Houston after the game saying I need to credit you for that, because you're not expecting as such a young player at a club that I'd been at since age of 9, 10 to obviously be booed, but Houston was part of that because he'd come out and said that I'd asked to be the highest paid at the club at the time when I didn't.
We're talking about young players, John. Obviously you were a young player at Man United. How did that process come about with signing for Man United?
So that came about pretty quick, to be honest. So I actually played for Dundee United as a kid, and we were playing Rangers in a game at Livingston. So that was United based ourselves at that point, because didn't take the Glasgow boys or the central based boys up to Dundee. So we were playing at Livingston, and the Man United scout went in to speak to the referee after the game. Now in those days, the referee was my dad. My dad passed his refereeing exams, so it was a case of he was a ref. So they asked to obviously speak to me, so they phoned at night, ended up going down there. But when I went down, I'll never forget it. We went to the local school, because obviously education was a big part of the next part down there. At that time, obviously it is now, even more so up here. But down there at that time, it was a case of you're going to go and continue your education, you're going to do X amount of days here, but you'll also train. Great, that's fine. But Alex Ferguson was there at that particular time. Met him, spoke to him, fine. Went away, and about 2 months later we went back down for signing talks. And as if we went back down, and again he could have checked the book for my mum and dad's name or whatever, but so personal. Start speaking to your mum and dad by first name, and I'm just thinking, wow, he's got us straight away here, just classy. How he came across, knew everything, had done a wee bit of homework, due diligence, and I thought, this guy's the real deal. And see what everybody says about him now, I relate back to when I was 15, 16, think, wow, like, those leadership skills were there at that time.
It's those wee touches, I think, that when you're a young player. I remember when I signed for Hibs, I had the opportunity to sign for Celtic, and Donald Park turned up at my door in Beuzelin in the snow. And it's one of those where you're right, he comes and makes the effort. When people make the effort with you as a young kid, Alex Ferguson, obviously, if Alex Ferguson knew your mum and dad's name, you know, a really respected manager at the time, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to sign for him, I want to play for him. So,
like you said, it's all the wee details. It's obviously going back to moving to West Brom. The reason why I chose West Brom is I went and met Roy Hodgson and Dan Ashworth had a video clip of nearly every time I'd received a ball with my left foot past my right.
Gave it away.
There wasn't many in that, was it? But it was the wee things, because nobody in Scotland had kind of touched on that. We just kind of got on with it and played, didn't we? It wasn't a time where we'd done analysis before games. Even at that time we didn't. We just turned up, this is how we're going to play. John Daly and Johnny up front at that time, who was a really good partnership. So it was just the experienced players were the guys to kind of get you through the games, wasn't it? Analysis is that such, and that was my first kind of taste of it.
Who was the experienced guys for you at Hearts? Guys when you were coming through?
When I was really young, we still had like Craig Gordon, Stephen Presley, Paul Hartley. They're all still there, but I was just kind of more training with them. When I broke in, it was more Andy Webster, Mario Salukas, Darren Barr had joined, Scatchell. So those kind of players that had been there or thereabouts at the club for a long time, which, you know, as a defender I was probably more closer to Webster. He was a really good sort of...
He was there with us as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Dundee United at that time.
I played with Webby, I played with Rudy though, Scatchell.
So it was just before, obviously, you must have came.
Yeah.
Andy Webster was there.
Even Scatchell was just like the model professional, like similar to Mr. Rankin here, in terms of like it's just everything he does off the pitch was perfect. Webby was just one of those ones that really looked after himself and had that little bit of streetwise when you were playing football that used to sort of teach you the tricks of the trade and
the dark arts.
The dark arts, which is, you know, as a young defender coming through, used to get suckered in, you know, trying to go short and get spun, and he would just give you those little tips which were invaluable at the time.
Who was the young players coming through Man United when you were there, Ranks? Who was the top dogs down there?
So we were kind of laid in digs. It was next door. So next door is on this side was John O'Shea. But obviously John O'Shea came in at the same time as me, but they'd bought him from Ireland. I'm sure it was Waterford. He came in, but he was big on his education. He was a bright lad. And then Kieran Richardson. Now I remember, clear as day, Kieran Richardson was a wee bit above his station. A wee bit like Scotty was, but he had good ability. But the two of them could back up.
Arrogant.
But you had to keep them. No, he wasn't arrogant. He was a good arrogant on that pitch. Take the ball, pass it, run, move, just back to himself. Kieran was the exact same. But Kieran was a wee bit more above his station than what Scotty was. He would take the arrogance off the pitch. So I always remember Fergie coming to me and saying, right, you're getting a new room, mate. And I'm like, my room's tiny. Who's coming in here? He's like, Kieran, any time he says anything big time, you need to deal with him. I thought, oh, here we go. So Kieran Richardson came into my digs, and it was a case of just no lay into him, but any time he'd done overstepped the mark or made a comment, or let's say for instance a cup of tea.
Were you older?
I was older. I was.
So he's basically picked you for that reason.
That reason,
essentially.
So he's basically saying to me, just you lay into him, make sure you deal with him. And he obviously seen potential in Kieran. He never seen in me, but he's seen a different quality in myself. Do you know what I mean? Then it was a case of make sure that you keep his feet in the ground. And to be fair, Clyde was Kieran's dad. So we was obviously digging the digs. It was banter, so I don't know what film it was in, but it was right turn Clive. So every time he used to say something, you just right turn Clive and jab him. He would know, and he would begin to grow, and then he began to get that wee bit when he's getting into the full-time environment, because he was younger than us. He was getting into the full-time environment. He could actually handle himself in a way where he wasn't being cheeky, and people weren't trying to put him down, but it was marrying that personality that had off the pitch as well as the ability he had on it. And I can always remember him making his England debut, and you're thinking, wow, did he see that at 14 in him? And he just had to try and get his attitude right. It was how he done that again. It was like in the background he was just doing wee things because he seen huge potential in them. And then obviously Fletch was next door, and Darren's career speaks for itself.
But it's interesting though, because you're a manager now, and someone obviously is legendary as Sir Alex Ferguson would be, and he's already looking at 14-year-olds for 3-4 years down the line. I mean, we've all been at clubs. You don't see that a hell of a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's results based and short term, and we think about the next result. You think about the next result. Whereas I think you've got to have some relationship with the academy and know what players are coming through, whether it be 15s, 16s, the ones at the top end that are just coming to becoming full time. I think he was so advanced, way ahead of his years when you're talking about analysis. I remember we played Forest in the Youth Cup, and after the game, the first team were playing Valencia in the Champions League. So we were supposed to be at home in the Youth Cup against Forest and give us the quarter final. Fergie said, no, they're not playing at home because it will churn up the pitch. They're going to play away. So we flipped the fixture, so we had to go to the City Ground. Absolutely fine. The game just finished, and Fergie's on the phone to see the result, to see how we'd done. Now we get beaten extra time. But the next morning, I can remember going to Carrington, because we just changed training grounds at the time, going to Carrington for recovery. And as we get in, and I just hears Rankin, and I thought, oh no. But he's just come back and playing for Valencia, straight in the training ground. Come here. So I go along the corridor. Now, his office was at the end, so you had to go by the canteen and everything else. I thought, why am I getting a curly finger this morning? and he's like, right, sit down. So I sits in the chair, and I'm thinking, I didn't even know where this conversation was going. He gets the remote, presses play. Who's that? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who that is, but I'm looking at the ground and I'm like, it's a toss up between Firhill and East End. I couldn't figure out what pitch I'm looking at. And then he's like, what about that finish? Look at the way I took that. And I'm thinking to myself, right, that's obviously him. But I'd missed a chance in 94 against Forest in extra time. Ball's come across and I've tried to go back across the goalie, and it's hit the defender on the backside. And he's like, look at this finish. He's got his clips for the Dunfermline. He played for Dunfermline years ago. And he's showing me these on the TV, and I'm thinking, wow, like, he's actually watched me miss a chance last night. But I'm getting in there like, so low, because we've just been knocked out of the Youth Cup, a chance to go on a run, and he's took the time to bring me into his office and show me goals for Dunfermline in 1970 whatever it was, 60 whatever it was, and I'm going, wow, just the leadership qualities, and he could bring everybody through, and like, whether he was interested in me making the first team or no, he still had time for me.
Did you feel comfortable at that level? Did you feel as if you could make it at Man United? Did you feel as if, with the players round about you, your Fletchers or Kieran Richardsons, did you feel, I'm as good as him, I can make it at Man United?
Right, so that's probably the first time anybody's ever asked me that question, to be honest. And at the time when you go down and you speak to him and he makes you feel as if you're the one. Like, you're the one, like, he knows your mum and dad's name and he's got this, and you think, I'm the one here, like, I've got ability. And I look back and where I was here at that time, I was probably ahead of the game in Scotland, like one of the elite players, and then you go down there and there's so many players, you just get swallowed up. But I'm going down there thinking, right, this is me, and then very, very quickly you realise this isn't going to be what I think it is. I'm not ahead of the game here. I'm like playing catch up with some, and you realise that you've got ability, your attitude's good, and then you think to yourself, how else can I gain a yard here? So it had to come down to professionalism. So that's when I started to, what can I eat? How much can I use the gym? What else can I do? Record your sleep? Have a food diary? I went into all that kind of depth because I'm thinking that they can buy players for anywhere in the world. They're the European champions. How do I actually get close to being in with this? But then my goal very, very quickly changed. Now, the guys, he's obviously made his debut at United when he came through. Gouser made his debut at Hearts when he came through. I didn't make my Man United debut. So what then it changed for me was I'm thinking, right, how can I get a short-term goal which is going to be a long-term gain?
Do you think that helped you towards the end of your career, to have as long a career as you had, that attitude
100%,
and that dedication to the game?
But it was my short-term goal then flipped to, can I train with the first team? Do you know what I mean? So then, can I get an opportunity to go and train with them just so I can become better? Can I get an opportunity to play in a testimonial or a friendly? That's what it became. And then as you talk about later on in my career, like, that professionalism obviously helped me have a longer career. But setting those short-term targets which are going to have a long-term impact really helped me, because I can always remember the first time I went over and it was an international break, so everybody's away for whatever reason. There was Beckham, Blanc and Varane. That was the three, right? And there was...
It's a no bad free, that.
If you're playing against them, trust me. It was Allan Tate, who came up here and played for Aberdeen for a bit, but spent most of his time at Swansea. Yep. Paul Tierney, who actually made his Man United debut, but didn't go on to have a long career. And myself, and we played against, it was 3v3s. Wow. And at that point I went, right, I've reached my target. I just knew you couldn't get near them. They had so much quality. But you're talking about like proper internationalists, and then when people used to say, like, when you come back up the road and people would wrap that tape round their legs, they're just below their knees for the Varane, I'm thinking, take that off, because I know I've been in the pitch with the real Varane, you're nowhere near that. And it just became a case of, I realised at that point, I'm not going to make it here, but I've made that target of training with them. But can I then make an appearance in a friendly or a debut or something like that? And I was fortunate enough to play in Flynn. What was it, Brian Flynn? Old Wrexham manager. I was fortunate enough to play in his testimonial with like Van Nistelrooy, Varane, Giggs, all them. So in that way I kind of ticked a box, although it was never official. But in my own mind I went, I've managed to achieve something here.
On the pitch with the guys at that level.
On the pitch with him. And then we played a game at Chester, and Scholesy was in the middle of the pitch as well. And I'm thinking to myself, right, I've ticked a box. Now it's time for me to go and actually live my career, because I'm not going to be able to do it here.
How did you end up? How did they move to Inverness and Ross County? How did you end up that neck of the woods? Was that the best options, or did you have other options? How did you end up going up north?
So what happened was, I went and spoke to him. I can always remember it was the 13th of December 2002. I just thought,
it's incredible.
Man.
Aye, exactly. Like, I'm bad with dates. See if somebody tells me their date of birth, I could tell you somebody's date of birth, like that off the top of my head. So it was the 13th of December, and I thought 13th's either going to be lucky for me in my career or it's going to be bad for me. So I needed to figure that out in my head as well at the same time, because I analyse a lot. Even like, the players will tell you a lot now, like, I analyse everything. But it becomes a case of you're looking at it and you're going, I'm going to get in here now. 13 wasn't going to be bad for me, whether he offered me a contract or whether he told me I could go, because realistically deep down I wanted to go. But if Man United are what to keep you, then you've got to stay. So I'm thinking, this isn't going to go bad for me no matter what way I get in here. So and he says to me, listen, if I keep you, you'll play in cup games, but it'll be the Carling Cup. And I think to myself, I don't know why I play in the Carling Cup. You're only
What age were you then, Ranks? 18, 19?
19 I'd have been. 19. and I'm going to play in the Carling Cup. I don't want to play one game, because you could play it. You could get drawn against Liverpool. Liverpool go full strength, and we've got kids on the pitch. You're out. You could get drawn against a lesser team who've got more experienced players. Aye, we're all right. But if we to go away to, like, I don't know, at that time, say a Luton or a
Leeds or something.
Or something like that. Again, you're going to play, but how good are you going to be against their experience? So I don't fancy that. And then I said to myself, listen, I'd rather go and try and play every week. No bother. I'll help you. And the inner bit of me now wishes I'll let him help me. But I mean, I don't need your help. I can do it myself. I can get something. And the Lincoln contacted me, but their manager, somebody Alexander, I can't remember his first name, he actually passed away at that time. So that was kind of, obviously his life was so much more important than my career. But that then I thought, you know what, I'll just go back up the road. So I came up to Motherwell. They were toying with administration at the time. I think that was the season that Falkirk won the league but couldn't get promoted, but Motherwell stayed up. That fell away. I went to see Aberdeen. Steve Patterson had said to me, listen, I'm not looking for a footballer, I'm looking for a big bruiser. That hurt me. That actually hurt me, do you know what I mean? Because
Steve Patterson, he was never associated with that. He was always played good football, didn't he? He was never I thought of him as a manager when he was at Aberdeen.
Aye.
Was he kind of...
That was what he was looking for at the time, though, because I think Aberdeen were going through a sticky spell, plus the fact they had Paul Sheeran, Steve Tosh, and that's what I was looking at. I'm thinking to myself, will I get in front of them, or just to even try and develop me in my career? And then I was lucky that Alex Smith I'd worked with at Scotland, and he'd phoned me and asked me to go up there and work with him, but Parky had phoned me at the same time, and I love Parky, and it's like, do you go to County or do you go to Cali first? And I went to County, and then County offered me the deal, and I thought, he's guaranteed me. I can always remember Alex's words. First game of the season, you'll start. See, after that, I can't guarantee you're going to start, so it's up to you. And I thought, that's what I need.
He's giving you the chance.
That's what I need. I need that now. So that's why I chose to go to Ross County. And then, as you say, after that, you kind of kick on and have your career that I did.
Management, in terms of playing and going into management, did you feel as if that was a massive step for you? What's the difference between being a player and a manager? I know as a player yourself, you should look after yourself. You've only got to look after yourself, but as a manager, looking after 20-25 bodies, how did you adjust to that?
Was I ready? Probably not. Did I think I was going to get the job? No. It just kind of...
You had done your bit of Hearts as well, though, hadn't you, in preparation?
So, listen, I don't think anything can ever prepare you for it. Nothing can ever prepare you for it, so I'd like to start... In fact, I had Gowser at Hearts. Gowser came in to train with us for a wee bit. So I ended up... Aye.
Did you?
Yeah. Because I couldn't go back to Sydney because of the flights. So I came in with, it was like the 18s, 19s, wasn't it?
18s and reserves I had. Yeah. So anything that Robbie didn't want to train.
Ranks was trying to style me.
Anything Robbie didn't want for training, he would send to me. So see, for a coach and learning, it was absolutely brilliant, because see if Robbie had 20 in the pitch, and he turned around and I don't need they to send them to a cross. Two would just walk through the gate. Aye. And you're having to try and adjust your session there and then. And I'm going, right, okay, I've got another two. But then you could have your full session planned around two players that you had at the beginning. He sent two through, and then 5 minutes later he would ask for another one. So that one that you could be planning your session for would have to go through, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute.
On the spot.
Like, you're learning on the spot. But Craig always said to me, design your session around the players that have got the most potential. Right. So
it's interesting.
You're designing your full session, so you basically get 18 players on the pitch. How many of them are going to make it at 18s level? One or two. Definite reserves, because they've all got a chance, but you think one or two. I need to design this full session around about that one or two.
So you get the quality out of it.
So they're getting the quality out of it, but so they're getting something out of it, they're getting enjoyment. Because the other part was, when you're in youth and football and that development, you're almost in youth football, you're developing the players that aren't going to go to the next bit, because they're letting down your session, where realistically Craig's bit was develop the players that have got the highest potential, so forget them, just make them work within the session, but concentrating. It was brilliant. Levein was unbelievable to learn off of, unreal.
I think it's a good point to say, though, that even within that, though, there is kids who at that time might not be the ones fancied and do come through that at the other side. You know, I think that's a good point to take on that.
Let's say for saying me and you are playing against one on the midfield, and I'm as a coach, he's trying to develop me, right? And I'm constantly trying to go on the ball. You're trying to stop me, and then you end up making the first team, and I don't. that coaching's helped you in some way, try to stop that midfielder getting on the ball, try to work on his opposite movements, try to work on pressing his first touch, try to work on him running forward. So although you're working on maybe one or two that in different areas, you're actually working on 3 or 4 when you actually think about and break it down and work back in it. And when I look at it like that, I thought it's just a completely different way of looking at it. And then Craig had said to me at the time, because I said to him, I says, listen, when Montrose had contacted me, Stuart Peters had contacted me asking me to go and play part-time at the same time I had the Hearts job. And Craig said, go and play. So why? I'm just going to go and play. He's like, play as long as you can. I took a bad injury and it stopped me playing. Go and play as long as you can. I thought, wow. So I only trained with, I ended up going to Clyde because I was Cumbernauld. So Clyde I only trained on a Thursday night with Clyde and played on a Saturday with Danny. And it was probably, he also said, he's like, listen, if your first managerial job becomes part-time, or you get a part-time job in coaching, you'll know exactly what you're going into. And I thought, 2 really good points at the same time. So I ended up going and playing with Clyde. Loved it. Loved playing part-time football because the demands of, as a 36, 37-year-old, the demands of training every day wasn't there, but I could still run every day. I think I ran with you at times as well. I just run. And then when it came to a Saturday, at the beginning of the season everybody was fit, but see when it got to the dark nights when players didn't want to go to their bed in the morning and go to the gym, whereas I was still doing it. So at that bit of the season I was beginning to fly and beginning to kick on, and really, although I was older, I could still get the legs run about me because I could move them.
But that all comes back to the Man United thing when you were questioning how can you day 1%ers get you into train with the first team first and foremost. That all comes back to that.
So when you obviously going back to Ross County, so when you signed for Ross County, did you feel as if you had a point to prove?
Aye.
When you signed there?
Yep.
Like Man United had kind of let you go and or whatever, and you thought to yourself, I need to go and prove myself now?
No so much to Man United, but more so to myself. It was probably me that had to prove a point to, because look, Scotty went to West Brom and it never quite worked out for him and he's come up the road, so you'll have a point to prove to yourself, not to Roy Hodge.
We've all had that somewhere. Leaving Hibs and stuff.
And I think overcoming adversity makes you stronger mentally, and it also makes you realise when you can, later on in your career when you maybe had a bad experience, you draw on those experiences before.
So much,
Aye, and when I come back up, it was like I loved my time at County. It was like,
were you always a centre midfield player? Did you play wide? You were a wide player?
I was see, when I was a kid,
tricky winger.
I think I can remember.
When I was a kid, I was a sweeper. Remember old formations? You were a sweeper. So you was a big centre half and you were a sweeper because I was tiny. I was tiny. And then I moved to I know I've never grew, still no grew. I moved to a wider position, and then when I went down south, they kind of played with like, it was like a 4-3.5, 2.5. So you'd have a winger on one side, because obviously the wingers in England are rapid. So they'd have a quick winger on either side. So if he would go and play in the left, I would go and play in the right. If he would go and play in the right, I'd go and play in the left. Then eventually I made my way into the middle, and then when I come up the road, Alex, obviously he just signed at the time, Jim Hamilton, Gary McSwiggan, like players like that through the middle. So he was trying to get 2 through the middle.
At your age?
In the middle with Daniel. So Davy Hanna was the middle one. Go and play in the middle with him. So again, that experience of playing alongside somebody that had played for Celtic, and you're going and playing in the middle with him, because I always remember I had that much energy. Just stay. And you're thinking, what are you talking about? But pretty much like I was with him. And then I'd take off again. He's like, what have I told you? But I'm thinking, I'm actually learning here because I can't go all the time, but and my energy would allow it. But I had to realise when I could go and when I couldn't.
So from there you went to Hibs?
No, I went from County to Cali.
County to Cali and then Hibs?
Went to Hibs, aye.
Then to Hibs. How did that Hibs move come about? So that was obviously a big step up, no disrespect to Inverness and Ross County, to go to a club the size of Hibs. You'd kind of served your apprenticeship up north. I think I was the only player that Hibs bid 110 grand for, and Cali asked for 107,500. That's a true story. I don't know what happened, but that was that happened. It's like, big Yogi sign you?
No, Mixu
Big Mixu
sign me. So again, totally truthful, I was probably Brewster. Charlie signed me for Inverness. Brewster then came in at Inverness, but I wasn't Brewster signing, but Brewster had been there before.
Aye.
So if you remember right, Brewster left Cali to go to Dundee United, left Dundee United, went back to Cali. So when he came back, I've been this new guy in the dressing room that he never signed. I was Cali's record signing, didn't want me, and I can always remember the conversation. We're playing Hearts at home, and Brewster said to me, I'm going to leave you at the squad today. I'm like, alright. I thought I was at the starting 11. I was like, alright, okay. He's like, no, you're not getting stripped.
Was that just a clash of personality? Because I played with Brewster, I know him well, and I think Brewster was always fitness fanatic, like boys that had an engine and get up and down. I'm surprised that you weren't the kind of his cup of tea.
So
yeah, that's a strange one.
That was a strange one
because Brewster was always like that type of player.
Did you get to the bottom of it?
I didn't get to the bottom of it, but I kind of got somewhere with it. So obviously, it's a Saturday and he's kind of caught me with surprise with telling me he's leaving me out. So I'm thinking I'm left out the squad, out the 11, but I'm still in the squad. And then he says to me, no, you're not getting stripped. And I kind of took it back. He's like, the reason being, I don't want to lose Morgs. So that was Alan Morgan. He's like, I don't want to lose Alan Morgan. He's like, and I don't think you're working hard enough. Well, see, as soon as he said working hard enough, it was like red rag to a bull. So I was raging. So I can always remember going to the stadium, watching the game, and I think Brewster actually came on and scored an overhead kick to win 3-2. But at that point,
nothing worse.
But at that point, I left. So I went to the gym, which was Fitness First in Inverness. But it used to be, there's a Longman. It's called the Longman, which is a big long road in Inverness, and there's a cars get sold. But the gym, I could go to the gym, so I just went to the gym and I was looking out, so I could see the glass, and I was just running. But obviously that time I was that angry. I can't even remember if it was 10k, 15k, whatever I'd done in the treadmill. Just needed to get it out. So
that's the difference in your raging. I'd go to the pub. He's running 10k.
I remember
straight to the pub. Straight to the pub.
You'd get caught in the pub. I get caught in the treadmill. That was the worst bit.
Better getting caught in that.
So he's come along the road to head back to his flat, but he's obviously been stuck at the lights and he's looked up and it's me back on the treadmill. So he's thought I've left the ground early, which I didn't. I stayed to the end and then I've went. So he's pulled me in on a Monday and I says, listen, it's like you're saying working hard. He's like, no, I don't mean working hard. But I was like, no, you've said that. I said, so straight away, you've got my back up with telling me that I don't work hard. So it was like, I was raging at that, and then he left me out. He never didn't games. I wasn't even travelling and all sorts. And I thought, this just isn't working. Me and him, and yet we would do runs on a Monday, which was sometimes it's bits for a manager and bits for a player.
It was bit of fitness.
I experienced it at Dundee United as well.
Huge.
When I first went up for work experience, he was there. And there were a lot of gym sessions as well when he first came in. Malky Thompson, I think.
Did you ever manage it? Never fancied you?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
Almost everyone.
No, but
latest one would have been Stephen McLean at St Johnson.
Oh, right.
He sort of played. He came in at the tail end of the season after Callum Davison got sacked. Took over for about 5 or 6 games. Played all of those games. Pre-season came and I was struggling a little bit with my Achilles, but we didn't have any players. I remember him saying to me, I'm just going to need you purely for bodies. I don't want to chuck the young kids in. Played the League Cup. Mm-hmm. Played all of those games. Played the first 2 games of the season. And then similar to that story, they used to put the squad list up on a Friday for who was travelling. We had Celtic away. And one of the boys messaged me saying, is your Achilles sore? You're not in the squad. Because the sheet has obviously gone up. Yeah. So, when you're driving in, you're just thinking, oh, here we go. And I'm like, he's going to pull me, come down the stairs at McDermott, and he's standing there, he's like, Gowser, can I have a word? I'm thinking, right, he's dropping me for this game, but let's hear his reasoning. Gone in there, and he's just like, I don't think you've started the season well. We're going to go in a different direction. You're free to look for another club. And that just totally caught me off guard, because I'd played every minute of every game since he'd been in charge. Just didn't see it coming. And there's only 3 days in the window left.
You were one of the more experienced players at the time as well. Do you think that was just him?
I don't know what. I really don't know. I didn't get to the end of it.
I think sometimes though it just happened. It's not as deep as you maybe think it is. They just don't fancy it.
I think as a player, it's just instantly you just think like, what have I done to annoy him that much?
Do you know that's the hardest part though? Like the hardest part being, like you've played all the games, you've been involved for so long, and then all of a sudden it's like you're not part of my plans anymore. Whereas if you can see it coming, you've not been involved for 5-6 weeks, and then you say, you're like, prepared. Whereas they ones are the hardest. Like that time, I'm not in the squad, and that time for you when you're getting there and you're not even in the list, you think you're unprepared, so you don't actually know what to come back with. And you're kind of thinking, I've got so much involvement.
You go home and you're like, why did I not say this? Why did I not say that?
And then you take it home with you, and then the time you go back in, you're ready to go, and
but you're still dying to know what the answer is and the reason, and sometimes you don't have the luxury of getting that.
You don't.
That's the thing.
Back to Hibs, the move, how did that come about?
So I got myself back in the team. So I got myself back in the team. It was before
Under Brewster?
Under Brewster. So listen, this is the best story ever. The best story I'll tell you, right? So we played a reserve game on a Tuesday, right? So at this point I was just thinking, I'm going to run the reserve games, I'm going to see how far I can run, and I'm going to see what I can do in the games, right? So the reserve game's a Tuesday, so we're playing at home. I think I scored 2, we beat Kilmarnock in a reserve game, I can remember it. And I came off the back of the game, I was just, you're no buzzing because you come off a reserve game, I was like, I've done what I needed to do, let's go up the road. So I went to the gym on the Wednesday, but it was a new gym, it was JJB or JD gym, and up next to where Pizza Hut and that is in Inverness. So I goes in, on the treadmill, running, like, belting it, and the next thing you know, this hand comes round and like pulls. Remember the treadmills had a gear stick for a wee bit. So hand comes round and pulls the gear stick, and I'm like, who is that? It turns, it's Brewster's behind me on the treadmill, and I'm thinking, oh no. So he pulls it down. He's like, have you tried this new workout? So.
Oh, you had a big fitness off. No.
He's just standing on the treadmill and pulling the thing up and pulling it down and pulling it up. And so basically, so it's my day off. But my manager's in the gym with me, pushing the gear stick up. So I'm fucking pelting to show how fit I am. Then he's coming down and I'm just getting on it a stride and he's pulling it down and I'm thinking, stop playing the machine. But he wouldn't leave me. So then I'm going, right, okay, what's happening? So then I get off the treadmill. He's like, right, lie on your back. So I lies my back and basically I'm looking about thinking, please tell me none of the players are in here so you're kind of trying to and then he's stretching my groins and he's got my hammy up on his shoulder and I'm like,
what do you think at this point?
I'm like, you know what I was honestly thinking to myself? I'm playing Saturday.
I'm thinking myself around doing a Greece holiday. It was the day when I was drunk.
So I ended up, we came to Dundee United on the Saturday. So, sorry, we're playing Dundee United on Saturday, but the Thursday happened, so we get into training. And the boys, I was Blackie, Don Cowie, Barry Wilson, Roy McBain, so we'd always this wee group that would kind of sit together and like, what did you do yesterday? I was like, so, wait till I tell yous.
I wouldn't have told anyone that.
No, mate, it gets better. So
I think you need to tell them that though.
Before we used to go to Fort George, Bruce would chap the door, right, and he would open the door and he'd go, leaving 10, but he'd always only put 5 fingers up, so it was like, what's going on? So this day I'm like, wait till I tell you. So I was like, I'm on a treadmill and the next thing you know, so I goes on the grunt and I'm lying on my back and I'm shot straight in my groins. Next thing you know, the door gets chapped and he goes, leave it.
And
I'm on the grunge. So he's like, leave it, and they just
back in the stand.
Shut the door. So see, as soon as the door shuts, the place just erupts because obviously everybody's like, oh, I've done myself. So then we get to Tannadice and I said, well, sure, God, I started. I went back in and that was me. So I went back in. So I played Dundee United. It was like a hard run of games. It was United, Hibs, Hearts, Celtic, and then Kelly and Gretna. That was it. The kind of hard running. We were fighting a wee bit at that time, and Marcus Patalainen was in the Cali team at that point. And I've been fortunate to get myself back in because I was a break in Finland. So Mixer was coming to watch Marcus.
That's right, I forgot his boy was at.
And that hunger.
His brother? His brother, sorry, aye.
And that hunger just hit me at the right time. So it was all about being at the right time, the right place at the right time. And I had that drive because obviously I'd been out for so long, no played, no been involved. And I was buzzing to be back and I just caught fire. I caught fire at the right time and then Mixer got the job mid-January. And Falkirk had a bid accepted, so I've been told to go to Falkirk. So I get to Falkirk on a Friday night and then the phone goes again. And it was Brian Rice, he's like, listen, we've got permission to speak to you and I'm supposed to be speaking to you, but we've just been told the permission's been withdrawn until Monday. But they were supposed to play Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup on the Monday night and we were supposed to play Hibs away. So what had happened is Hibs had phoned and had the bid accepted, or said we'll speak about this after. So then I didn't play against Hibs and I was just kind of in limbo because I didn't know I was going to Hibs, I didn't know what had happened, I just knew I was getting permission to speak to Falkirk and it had been taken away. And then obviously I went to Hibs and Mixu and said to me, listen, I've seen your last 4 games, this is what I want you to do here, this is what we're missing, this is why I've signed you. I'm like, right, okay, fine. And then I always remember with Mixu, we were in a Sunday, so Mixu was the first manager I'd ever worked under that came in and brought you on a Sunday, so you were in Sunday.
Well, a fitness fanatic, big Mixu.
Yeah. Was it?
Aye.
In Sunday off Monday,
One
and
pace,
Tuesday,
big
Wednesday.
plodder.
He could score goals.
Aye.
Oh,
Still
good train.
Oh, very good.
Still train.
And you still train?
No, I don't join in train, I still run, but I don't join in train. My ankle with my screws and pins in it, I don't think I could. But then Mixer would bring in a Sunday and he'd have his pen, his sheet of paper, so in front of everybody in the meeting room. Ranks 4 out of 10, and you would go like that, 4? Remember, he used to get the ratings in the paper?
Oh. Yeah.
Mixer would give you the ratings off his own ratings, so he would give you a reason why in front of everybody.
All right.
So go to
I
the
quite like that. I think that's
You should do that weird one.
Not a chance, but you're thinking going.
So every Sunday he would sit everyone like a team meeting.
Every Sunday.
And then just go through everybody.
So it was like the media room at Hibs. So
Max, we had that at Dundee United for age of 10. We get a rating off the head of youth from the age of 10 to under 16s on a
I think I
website.
should be doing it as a kid. I think
No.
Loved it. I was getting 9s every week.
Arrogant, so arrogant. So who was there at Hibs at the time when you signed?
Zamama. I signed at the exact same day as Nid came back up on loan from Norwich. Nish had signed it just no long after.
Stokesy there? Play with Stokesy?
Stokesy came in, you'd have played him at Falkirk.
Played with Stokesy at Falkirk. I think I stopped him getting a doing one night in a Falkirk night out. I don't think that's a story for the show.
The Marikey.
He's a nut job.
Stokesy and
So talented, Stokesy. Wasn't he?
finishing unreal. Unreal.
He came up to Falkirk when I was there, and I remember it was Allan and Russell Latipi was the two strikers, and Pedro Moutinho. And Pedro was injured. Me and Stokesy signed on the same day, and I'd played with Hibs and Dundee. I had 150 games in the SPL. Stokesy had never kicked a ball in senior football. And
From Arsenal, this is, isn't it?
from Arsenal, 18-year-old, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm straight in. You played with Yogi. I'm playing Dundee United next year. I'm in. I'm not going to play this wee guy before me, right? So Stokesy on the Friday was unbelievable in training. I'm thinking, he's handy.
It'll be good last night.
Right, so I'm still thinking to myself, he's not going to play him. So big Yogi needs the team out. And Stokesy's straight into the team, and I'm sitting fuming, just thinking, what's he doing? And I always remember his debut, right? I'm thinking he's not ready for the SPL. Stokesy scored a hat-trick that day, right? He scored 18 goals in 14 games. And I watched every one of them for the bench.
Did they not score hat-trick?
He did. He went hat-trick, aye. He could play in a month. I remember he was in my house, him and the Irish guys, Patrick Craig and Stephen O'Donnell.
Is that you trying to get him out the team?
And Roy Keane phoned him to sign him for Sunderland. Aye, £2 million. But I need to take this call, it's Roy Keane. Anyway, I ended up...
Were you buzzing when he got that call?
I was buzzing, but I ended up getting released then. I got a game at Falkirk, but I Stokesy. So it was due to me and him, and I couldn't get into the team. Gowser went to Rangers in the January. He was flying.
That's right.
With Russell Latipi playing behind him. But I just talking about Stokesy. His ability was frightening. He was a great footballer.
Maybe I think Deek was a better finisher.
Aye, Deek obviously.
A better finisher, but honestly, but Stokesy came in before he went to Sunderland, and did we buy him for Sunderland? I think we might
have been after that.
After Sunderland. And he came in, but him and Yogi would fight like cat and dog.
Yeah.
Honestly, every day, like Stokesy would turn up late, and he wouldn't be training, and Yogi, you'd have all your, like, say it was purple and yellow, were playing against one another. Stokesy would come in, Yogi's like, "You're not training, get away." And Stokesy would be like, "I'm training." The next thing you know, you'd have a float in the middle of the session, because Stokesy would just pick a natural colour bib up and just work his way into the session that way. But he was...
I think Yogi was the type of manager, as long as you were producing the goods. I think Alex was like that a wee bit when I was at Hibs with Russell Latipi. Russell was out all the time, but as long as he produced on the part, I think you can't really get away with it. I don't think in the modern game. But if you're producing, and Stokesy was the exact same with Yogi. Yogi loved him. Yogi signed him for Inverness and signed him at different places, but in Hibs. So how did you get on with Yogi? What do you think of him as a manager? Brilliant.
So entertaining, but see.
Clever, but clever the way he set his teams. I always wanted to play football. I always found at Falkirk he was a big rugged centre half. I played with him at Hibs, but he always wanted to play through the lines, and he had a good idea on the game.
So I played against Yogi when he was at Falkirk. So he was coming to the end of his career, and I was just a young boy coming out, and I can always remember I'm ready to run through one day, and somebody had the ball, and it was like I'm making the straight run for a diagonal pass, and he's going to slide me in here, and Yogi just went bang right into the forearm. Get up, you! So, oh my God! But then, 5 years later or something, he's your manager, and I'm thinking to myself, this is just going. Everything was total football. Training was brilliant. You wouldn't even warm up, not a warm up.
How good is that sound?
Did you do your squats in the gym before it? Did you do all your gym work?
Gym work, everything. But you
struggled with that at Falkirk.
He didn't know what was going on, so. My dad flies pigeons, right? So
the doos,
mate. But you can't. So when it comes to the summertime, I would always get the doos in the boot and can't take them through. So obviously, I signed for Hibs. So I've got the.
Do you know about this type of thing in Glasgow?
No, I don't know.
So I've got
what you're talking about.
Do racing.
Wallabies earlier.
So I've got the do basket, the boot, right? So the do baskets in the boot, so you can hear in the way going. Brrr, brrr. The boys are kind of looking like, what's going on here? But I wouldn't say to them, right? So I'd get to training. And then we'd let them up, which was fine. So then when it came to the following season, when Mick Hughes left and Yogi's came in, Yogi hadn't a clue, and Chipper hadn't a clue what was going on. So obviously Yogi's into the boxes, so the pitch needs to be soaked before training, so they get the water on, so the water's soaked. So I would wait till the water had soaked the pitch, then I would run out with the pigeon basket and open it and let them out. But of course the feathers are everywhere then, aren't they? But he would come out on the tree, so this went on for I don't know how many weeks, until Chipper clocked it, he realised. So what had happened, he kept going out, he's like, that fox has caught another one. He's always doing that scratch. He said, Chipper. Honestly, and like, obviously the boys knew, because there's like feathers everywhere, and you pass the ball and there's stuck to a feather, but they weren't nobody would let the cat out of the bag. And Chipper's obviously, one of Chipper's mates who builds fences were in Bathgate, where Chipper was from at the time, had said to him, but my dad, Chipper's, he obviously put two and together. He's like, I think she's bringing me birds. She's like, come here. So I walked out one day, he's like, your dad's dudes that are on the picture, and I was like, he's like, I seen him circling the other day, and he's like, and I spoke to him once, he's like, and I clocked it, he's like, he's been doing that to us the full time. These feathers are all over the pitch, and Yogi's gone mental, and then when he clocked it, he was laughing, he's like, can't believe you've done me like that, but he was alright.
Aye. The squiggler. Talk us through the squiggler. I think it's the only goal that I can remember something being named after John Rankin.
True, yeah.
With the squiggler. Was that something you practiced in training?
He used to say it in training. At Dundee United. Yeah, he did.
You practice it, try and hit and talk with the ball. Remember hitting the valve and all that was that kind of thing.
That was a thing at the time. So I'll tell you how that happened. We were at Easter Road for training, so we were heading to the training ground, and we got a phone call to say, training ground's off, make your way to Easter Road. So it was like the Friday before we played Celtic, and the Sunday. It was a televised game.
That's right.
And he's like, you need to get to Easter Road. But obviously I was already on my way to the training ground, but we just did a cut off that would take you back into kind of the back end of Musselburgh into the there. So we goes in, and it was me, Vanzi, I can't remember who else was in the car, but Deke was on the pitch. So Deke had just arrived, so he was at Airth, stayed in Airth at the time. So we just went out at the middle of the pitch with a bag of balls, and he just started pelting balls. So I ended up involving him.
Oh, Deeks?
Aye. So me and him just smashing balls. So how we never done our quad, I don't know, but he's just saying, banger, squiggler. That's why he was shouting. We were hitting for the halfway line, so you did it, and then the next thing you know, I can always remember, Nishi ended up in goals. So you get me, Deke hitting 45-yard shots, and Nishi's obviously getting the gloves on, trying to dive about, and I'm like, we've not even started training yet. I must have hit about 1,000 balls with the amount of times I went and get back, because you're obviously waiting and everybody else coming in that's stuck in the snow. And then on the Sunday, we were at Easter Road again, and it just so happened Bruni had passed the ball and I cut it out in that area. And just because pure type that I was there on the Friday, I hit it, and then listen, it
moved all the place.
It's not, it doesn't even move.
Or it's chucks it.
He gambles and it ends up in the back.
You see a bit of credit there.
Must have moved a wee bit.
I've had more movement in balls since then than what I had in that day. Do you know what I mean? You try, but just as soon as you scored, and then so obviously the press asked you after the game, how did that come about? What happened? And you explain it, and then I thought, you know what, it's a squiggler. But it's like that. Being honest, that was hard to deal with after that.
Because every time a ball came to you near the edge of the box, everybody was expecting a goal. Because I remember being young at the time, associating John Rankin for long range, you know.
Don't let him shoot from
distance.
And then you get obviously the people would stop me in Tesco, and I had two young kids at the time, Tesco, Morrison's, and be like, oh, can I get a picture? And I'm like, you're not an old firm player just because you scored one goal. It was crazy, completely changed for a wee bit. And then after that, obviously you're talking about on the pitch, as soon as the ball would come out a box at the corner and it would land, like, you'd have 3 or 4 people pressing you, and I'm like, what's happening here?
Aye, and the crowd all
livening up. Then a couple ended up in the Rose Ed, and it was alright after that, but that just completely changed it.
Right, we're running out of time at the minute, John, but quickly before we go, best player you've played with and best player you've played against?
Played with
first.
You don't need to name us, it's fine.
Played with at what level? First team?
Any level.
Consistently, aye.
I'd say first team level, not under 12s.
Aye.
Probably be Scotty, you'd probably say him.
No. First team level, the best player I played with, Boozy.
I've got a quick story about Beuzelin. I was at Hibs when he signed, so he came in trial from Le Havre, some French team. John Park brought him in, and Tony Mowbray had just come in as a manager at Hibs, and he came in, it just so happened that he sat beside me. He's a trialist, so I'm talking about him. How you doing? Oh, I'm Boozy. Oh, how you doing? So we went out in an 11v11 game. Tony Mowbray had not seen any. It was a first day training for Tony Mowbray, and we done an 11v11 game on the park, and Tony Mowbray sitting in the stand with Mark Venus, and Boozy for the first 20 minutes was incredible. Getting the ball, pinging balls about and all that, honestly. So he signed him. So his first wage packet, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, his first wage packet, he came in, he sat beside me and Grant Brebner, and he came in and he went, Tom, this number here, is this my tax? And I looked at it and it was down the bolt, and I went, no, that's your wage, Boozy. He eventually got a better deal, but he was on absolute buttons at Hibs when he first signed, because Hibs were trying to cut the wage bill under Tony Mowbray. But Beuzelin, I remember, it was the best trialist I've ever seen in my life. 20 minutes, got him off and he signed. But very, very talented player.
Technically unreal. But he came out, I can always remember when we were at Hibs, it was like stop, start. Because I only played him for 6 months. But we stop, start, and when we went to Parkhead one day, and I was like, I've not played with you for ages, I'm buzzing to be playing me. He's like, Chris Coleman's here today. Basically telling me he's going to Coventry. Do you know what I mean? I was like, all right, okay, but he obviously stopped, start, he hadn't been ready to go and play, but this day he was declaring himself fit. And mate, it was at Parkhead, he was, as you say, pinging past it, but it was just as if he was on the skill playground. And you're playing against like Celtic when you're banging about and you're keeping the ball, and I think to myself, wow. But we closely followed with Liam Miller. Liam Miller's a good player, really good player.
Best player played against? First team level?
Did you ever play in the Dundee United, the Barcelona game for you?
Yes, Yaya Toure.
Yeah, I thought
I
you were
played
going to
against
say that.
Barcelona against Hibs.
Best player?
Toure, aye. I was on the pitch at the same time as Messi and then, but Toure came on, and at that time he was a young guy, nobody really knew too much about him. But I can always remember trying to get near him at one point, he just went like the hand, and you're like, wow, and then just, I wouldn't say he was fast, but he just ate up grounder.
He's just a powerhouse with ability.
Aye, it was scary.
The best advice you've received, just before we finish, the best advice you've received as a manager? Anybody phone you or text you?
Manager?
I mean, things are maybe not going well, or things are going well. Somebody's picked the phone up and you've thought,
do you know
that's really good advice for me?
Robbie Nielsen.
Right.
So we took a bad defeat at Morton one day, and I don't know if Hearts were playing or no, but my phone had went, it was a message, it was Robbie G's phone, and I phoned him. He's like, listen, we've all took them, I've had my pants pulled down. He's like, I get beat 5 in the air and 5 off air at United and 5 off air at Hearts, I think he said, and I thought, right, okay. He's like, I've had my pants pulled down many a time, just keep your head up, you're a strong guy, keep your shoulders above water and just lead for the front, just be consistent with what you're doing. I thought, for somebody that's got a job in the SPL and he be under
See the manager at Hearts at the
time, mate, and he's obviously got his own thing to do under pressure, but he's thinking about me. I thought, wow, that's a real leader. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got his own that he's leading, and he's also trying to help me at the same time. Just at that, and I thought, right, okay, a wee bit of calmness, like a bit of perspective. We've took a sore one, but go and build and get ready.
Did you just play together, or was it just?
I played with Robbie at
Dundee United,
and when Robbie took before
Long throw.
Long throw.
I hate playing against him in the
Robbie Nielsen was the guy who got me into coffee and TalkSport. Robbie Nielsen, because he used to have
it. Was, aye.
He took me to Dundee sometimes as well. He was the guy, coffee and TalkSport. That's how much he loved football, because he wasn't exactly 30, 35, 36 at the time.
Brilliant. John, you've been a great guest today. Thanks for coming in. Thanks to Ryan and Scott, obviously, as well. Join us next week. I won't be here, obviously. I'm away on holiday next week. Scott will be filling in as the host. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please hit the subscribe button in PLZ Soccer, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.